Hi there, in this screencast I'm going to show you how to add text to a game so that the user gets messages as a game is running. So before you start attempting to add this code to your game, I just wanted to make sure that you check to see if you have a class called text. Now I think I modified this class and then added it to a project after I sent you guys the template, so you may not have it. I'm making an announcement about it in class, but if you do not have it, if it does not appear over here on the right hand side under actor classes, then you should check the F drive under Intro to CompSci Resources. In there should be a file called text.java, and you should copy and paste that into the root folder of your button bashing game. Okay, so what is text? In Greenfoot, in Greenfoot, text is nothing more than an image that contains letters. So just like your sprites are images, so is text that you add to the screen. So you actually have to create text objects and assign them to text variables, and then add those objects to the screen while the game is running to make them appear. And then you have to remove them from the screen, or remove them from the world if you want them to disappear. So it's a little bit like, not that much unlike adding a sprite at certain times and then removing them, and then having a variable for that sprite. So to keep things simple, what I recommend doing is having a variable for each distinct message that you're going to be displaying on the screen. Let's think about a basic button bashing game. Well, you might, when the game launches, you might have a little message explaining how to play. Then when the game is running, you might have a message that will tell the users who is winning, and then finally after a race ends you might want to have a message that says who won, and then gives simple directions on how to start a new game. So I'm going to go into my world class, and I'm going to make some text variables right up here, where underneath the class statement where all my other instance variables are declared. I'm going to say private text, and then I'm going to say startup, let's say directions, who's winning, and game over. Okay, so now if we go and look at the text class itself, and it's one that I found on the internet because I don't think Greenfoot has very good built-in text functionality. But if you look at the text class that I have here, in the constructor you can either the method that says public text, starting on line 17 here, it says this and then quotation marks and then colored out white, comma 24, and then you'll see public text, string text, color, int size. So it turns out that you can make a new text object calling either of these constructors. Chances are you're going to want to call this one, the one where you specify the text, you specify a color, and you specify a size. Now, if anyone would like to investigate how to specify a font, I would love somebody to look into it. I haven't had the time to fully figure out how to do it, so that would be a nice activity for one of you who are up to a challenge. Okay, so we have the constructor, and then we also have two other methods. One, and both of those are called setText. One, you supply it text, a color, and size, and in the other one you just supply it text. So we're going to probably be using the second one frequently, and that second method modifies a text object and changes the text that appears in it after the fact, after the object has already been created, without changing the font or the color. So when we want to update a message and we want the font to stay the same, the colors to stay the same, but the words to be something different, we're going to call this setText message. Okay, so go back to the My World class, and now in the constructor for My World, once again the constructor method called at the time in the case of My World, at the time the program launches, it has the same name as the class and begins with the keyword public, has no return type, and so no void, no data type that returns, and it's typically the first method that you see underneath the instance variables. Okay, so I'm going to instantiate text objects for my text variables. So I'm going to say directions equals new text, and I'm going to say red caveman, press Z to move, yellow caveman, press S. Well, actually, let me go and see what. So the red one did Z, and then the yellow one, does M. Okay, so I'm going to go back to My World. And if you like those to be on separate lines on the screen, you can throw in \n. That forces a line feed and will make what comes after it appear on the next line. All right, and now I'm going to add the directions to the world right now, because when the game launches, I want the directions to appear on the screen. Oh yeah, and I'm going to say \n, press S to start. So I'm going to say add object, and I'm going to say directions. Oh, I forgot to say the color and the size. So I'm going to say color dot black, and we'll say 48. We'll make it nice and big. And now I'm going to add that object to the world. So I'm going to say directions, and then and I think it is, let's see, get width divided by 2, and I'll say get height divided by 2 minus 100. So that's 100 pixels up from the middle of the screen and in the middle of the screen for width. For height, 100 pixels from the center. So now let's go into my design view, and voila, there it is. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to instantiate the text object for who's winning. So I'm going to say who's winning equals new text, and I'm going to say for now I'll say red is winning, and I'm going to say color dot red, and I'll say I'll make it even bigger than the directions. Let me say 75 for the font. And now I'm not going to add that to the world yet, but I am going to make the game over object or text object So I'll say game over equals new text, and then I'll say red wins. Press S to start a new game. And I'll also make that 75. Okay, so now I'm going to go down to where the game is running, and as soon as the game starts, I want to remove the directions object. And I also want to remove any game over object if, well, you know what? I think I just need to move the directions object. So I'm going to say remove object directions. And then I'm going to say add object who's winning. And I'm going to say, let's see, get width divided by 2 and get height divided by 2, and then let's say minus 200. Alright, so now let me start my game. Okay, good. And that's how I want it to be. Now you may say, well, what if red isn't winning at this point? Well, we're gonna take care of that by every time the game is in running mode, we're gonna have it check to see who's winning, and if whoever's ahead will say will announce that that person is winning. So that means I need to have another if statement that's going to check to see who's ahead. So to see who's ahead, I'm going to say if yellow guy dot get x greater than red guy dot get x, then we're going to set the who's winning text to be red is winning. No, I'm sorry, to be yellow is winning. So I'm going to say who's winning dot set text yellow is winning, and this time I want color.yellow, although we may not be able to see yellow very well, but I guess we'll see. All right. Then if the red guy is winning, in other words, the red guy object, his x-coordinate is bigger than yellow guy's, then I want to change my who's winning text to say red is winning. And I want to make it red, and so I don't have to re-add it to the world because it's already added to the world, and I'm modifying it after it's in the world, in which case the text is automatically going to change. And then if neither of them is winning, well, then it must be a tie as when the game is running. So I'm going to say who's winning, set text, and we'll say it's a tie. Okay, so that should take care of saying who's winning. Now, if I go down underneath it, where it then checks to see if somebody has won, and as soon as somebody wins, it changes the game state variable to finished, so that the next time the act method executes, this little section down here executes, and no longer is it checking to see who's winning or changing that message. But down here, when I get to the fact point that the game needs to go into finished mode, I want to remove the who's winning message. And at that point, I want to add the what did I call it? The message for game over. The game over message. So that would be minus 100. And you know what? I think I want to not only add, as soon as I add the game over message, I'm going to change the text of it so that in this case, since yellow won, then we would say yellow wins. So let's see. Yes, so I would say, and I'd want to make sure that I also changed it to being yellow. So actually, before I add it to the world, let's just say game over dot set text and it would be color dot yellow and font of 75. Okay, oh, I'm forgetting the close quotation mark. There we go. So I want to do the same thing if red wins. And then I guess I didn't handle, did I handle the situation where it's a tie? I'm not really sure if it's possible, but let's just throw in the tie scenario. So let's say red guy dot get x equals yellow guy dot get x, and one of them has passed the point where the game ends. So that would be we'll just say red guy dot get x greater than get width minus 200. Okay, then I'm going to say game state equals finished, winner equals red guy, no, winner equals tie, and then I'm going to set the text to say it was a tie, and we'll make that blue. Oh, I might want to throw in the directions as well. And then I'm going to say press S to start new game. I'll say race. And there. Okay, so now the one last thing is I'm going to want to, when they start a new game, I'm going to want to remove the game over message and then add the who's winning message. So I'm going to say down where it says if greenfoot.isKey down s, I'm going to say remove object game over, and then add object who's winning, and then that would be get width divided by 2 and get height divided by 2 minus 100. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Alright, it looks like I have some kind of error. So where is my error? Oh, missing a comma. So here we go. I press S. Immediately it says it's a tie. It's a tie. Red is winning. Yellow is winning. And yellow wins. Press S to start a new race. So I do. And yes, it goes back to super. Okay, so the only thing that I'm missing is it didn't remove my red is winning message, and my yellow wins is appearing in the wrong spot. So let's go and fix that. Okay. Oh, I only removed the object in the one case. So that needs to also go there and there. Oh, and this needs to be divided by 2 minus 100. Because otherwise it's 100 pixels up from the bottom of the screen, not 100 pixels up from the middle of the screen. Okay, so let's try it now. Yeah, that's better. And now let's try red winning. Let's have red win and see if we... No, red wins and it says yellow wins. Okay, that's not good. So I'm thinking that yes, I forgot to change it to say red wins, and I want it to be color.red, not yellow. Alright, let's try it again. Good. Alright, so that's it. That's adding text to a game.